Hey guys, welcome to the 101 in 10, where you get to see your favorite artists from around the world 101 in 10 minutes. I'm your host, Ayasha Roberson, and I'm back on the scene with a new artist. This artist has this really great country slash rock sound. His music is just talking about his story, his life, his situation, and it's really relevant because we can all relate to love and heartache and pain and just kind of motivating ourselves to move on. So without further ado, I would like to welcome and introduce the great, talented Mr. Daniel Andrews.
Hey guys.
Yay!
Hey, how are
So,
you?
so thank you so much, Andrew, for being on, Daniel for being on our show. I'm calling you by your last name.
That happens. That happens quite often. It's
Yeah.
okay.
Some people have two first names. That's what you have
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
So I want you to tell us, like, how did you get started as an artist and who were your musical influences growing up?
Man, how I got started, I guess I got started a couple of times really. Early on, I was about 8 years old. My mom uh, drugged me up on stage in church, and I was nervous and scared to death. At that time, I was terrified to be in front of anyone ever, and extremely shy. So I thought. And then once I did that, there was something about being up there and the reaction of the people, and it was almost like an addiction. And I knew it was something I had to do later in life at some point. And so as I got a little older, I got into music a lot, and we did the whole band thing for a little bit, and it got to where I kind of had to pick a lane, a family or the road life, and I chose family at the time, and I wouldn't change that at all. But later in life, I pushed paused, and then later in life, uh, I went to a season where I lost my son,
Hmm.
and when you go through something like that, I think things tend to bring you full circle sometimes, and it put me back onto the road of music, right? And so here we are a few years ago, started that path again, and it's just been very rapid, and I think it's just kind of been ordained and meant to be, and so it's exciting. It's a fun journey, and my influence is really there's so many, gosh, especially all the older ones, but really even some newer ones. Man, I look at some of the newer guys like the Morgan Wallens and the Hardys and those guys of the world that are um, they're so instrumental. And I think the next phase of music, not just country music, but music and how they do it. Um, and then you got, the George Straits, right? And all those guys are the old school guys of the world, and George Jones and all those guys that kind of paved the way, and then, Loretta Lynn, right? She's even a female artist is, they kind of beat to their own drum, and they do things the way they do it. And I think it makes them unique and organic. Um, and I think it makes them relatable. I think that's what people look for. So just trying to do the same thing, man. Fit into that box somewhere and make my own little pathway.
Well, I think you're doing a good job with doing that. Just hearing about your incredible story about, having a child pass away
Hmm.
and actually picking family over music, and it was a great decision that you made because you knew that your child was gonna pass away. So you were actually able to spend time and be this father and dedicate your life to that. But your music touched so many people in so many different ways because there's people who lose children all the time. And a lot of times other people can't relate to it because they never experienced that. So you can actually write about that. It comes through in your music. So that's one of
Yeah.
the things that's relatable when it comes. You have created that relatability and that authenticity and the organicness of your music. You're not just singing about something just to sing about it or writing about something just to write about it to get the likes or to get the views, because I think that's the culture we've been living in for quite some time, especially when you have so many newer platforms like TikTok. So people are just doing things to do it, just to say that they're doing it, but it doesn't mean that they can actually relate to it because didn't experience. They don't have a person. There's nothing that's substance. It's nothing that kind of can touch that person's heart. It doesn't feel authentic.
I agree 100%. I couldn't agree more. Yeah, it's um, I don't I don't ever want to write a song that is just written from just nothing really. That just not that there's not good songs like that, but for me personally, I want people to listen to something that I've wrote and go, man, I get that. I've been there. I understand what that's like. Or, hey, that's my life. Or I've experienced that. I know what that feels like. And so it's a relatability thing for me. I want to try to tell a story that people understand and relate to. And that's just me. That's just my lane. I think I try to fit in the best. And so nothing against anybody that doesn't do it that way. It's just, that's just my, I think it's the path I'm on. And I think that's the right one for me.
Yeah, that's great. Now let's talk a little bit about your success as an artist. Can you tell us a little bit about what are some of your success stories of being this independent artist in the music scene?
Well, man, yeah. So, gosh, success is so, you know, I think successes are they can be big or little, right? For me, it's a lot of times it's the little things. And one of the things most recently, we kind of going back to what we just talked about into relatability and stuff, with connecting with people. Um, Playing a show, and I had a guy I was playing a show with. We were kind of co-heading an event, and I played one of my recent songs, "Dirt Road Memories," and when I got done doing that song, that was my last song, and I walked off stage, and a guy came and found me on the side and said, "Hey, man, I just want you to know that." He goes, "What song was that?" And I told him, and he goes, "Can I download that somewhere?" And I said, "Yeah, of course." And I told him about it, and he looked it up, and he goes, "Man, that song." He goes, "I was leaving. I knew the show was over." He goes, "And I heard that." And he goes, "I stopped and I turned around because that was my life growing up. That song meant something to me, very real." He goes, "I'm going to play this song all over my work and tell everybody about it." And I thought, man, that's what it's about for me. That's why we do it, right? That's why I do what I do, because I want people to go, man, I get that. That means something to me, as opposed to, oh, that just kind of sounds cool. And so that was a big success for me. And I guess another success, we'll see how successful it is. So I just signed with a label recently in Nashville on a developmental deal. And so we're working on some stuff. We're going to go to radio with a brand new single here pretty soon. We just finished up and approved all the artwork and cover art and all that. So a lot of cool things are about to happen, hopefully. And I'm just you hurry up and wait at some point, right? So that's kind of where we are. We're excited about it. We have a lot of questions, but they're not answered yet. So we're just every day is a new day, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, that's to me that's success. To me is it's a lot of times the small things.
I think that's beautiful. And as I hear you talk about it, there's like such a humbleness with you. Because I think a lot of
Yeah,
times people always look at real big success stories and that's like a momentum, and they don't even realize the small things are just as powerful, or even sometimes even more powerful than the bigger success. And
yeah.
I think that has created you to be this artist, that you are this model for a lot of people out there. They need to just stay humble and stay grounded and just uh, show gratitude and just be thankful.
Yeah, man. I use the word intentional a lot, and I've intentionally put people in my life early on that I've told them specifically they have all the power and authority in the world to go, "Hey, man, you know, get back in line." And so, because I think we're all human, right? At the end of the day, no matter how much we want to say we're going to be a certain way or how humble we want to be, we're all human, and things can happen and allow us to not act properly or think properly or say the right things. And but you kind of have to be intentional in who you have in your life to help you keep you. I call them, like when you go bowling, you got those bumper guards, right? You don't
Right.
want to throw gutter balls. You want to keep the bumper guards out, man, and stay in the lane. And so yeah, I just I want people. I don't want to be any different than I am now, right? I don't want to be different than what I was 5 years ago. And so I want people to be able to feel like they can talk to me and go, and I'm just a normal person. I'm just a dumb country boy. I say that all the time, right? And so that's what I always want to be. That's what's I've been pretty happy in life being that, and I want to continue being happy. So I think staying that would be the way to go.
That's excellent. I think that's a great um I think that's a great story, and I think that's what makes you um uh you as a person. That's what make you, the flaws and all that would make you you, and that's you're owning
Yeah,
your flaws, you're owning your imperfectionism, you're owning who you are as a person, and that's the authenticity that they see as, you know, the father, the husband, the artist, and
Yeah.
that's a great way for people to continue to relate to you and have fans that's going to just continue to be like, oh my gosh, I just love your music. Now let's talk a little bit about your music. Because of You.
Yeah.
How did you come up with that song? And what were some of your
Man, that song was an accident. So I was in my office, not this office we just moved, but an office similar to this, and I don't know why I wasn't intentionally trying to write anything at the time, but I for some reason was kind of reflecting. I do that a lot, and I was thinking about just difficult times that you go through, and I think we all do that. I mean, everyone does. Everyone, whether it's a loss or whether it's a breakup or whatever the situation is, everybody goes through a difficult time, and so. For some reason, it just kind of came out, and I started writing it, and it was very organic. And I think again, I don't want to get too far ahead in our questions here, but you know, that's how I try to write is be very organic. I don't try to write. I let it just kind of happen, and I think that's the best way because I feel like I force it or try it, then it doesn't come out the way that it should. And so that song just kind of came out on paper really fast, and for some reason, again, just reflecting back on the things that I've experienced personally and trying to put it down to where people can understand it and relate to the same type of loss or experience. And so, yeah, it was an accident. It wasn't intended to be that way, but came out pretty quick. And then everybody said, "Man, you should record that song." And I wasn't intending on recording it all, but ended up being my first single. So, yeah.
Oh, I'm excited. I love the song, guys. You have to make sure you go to Spotify or any musical platform and check out his song Because of You. Now, Daniel, can you tell the fans how can they connect with you, how they can book you for an upcoming event, how can they see you somewhere? Do you have a website?
Yeah, so man, if you do Instagram or Facebook, I do both of those. It's at the Daniel Andrews Music on both of those platforms. And if you first booking, yeah, it's the same thing. It's the Daniel Andrews Music at Gmail, and we'll get that information from you and be happy to try to come play at a venue near you soon. So yeah, as far as where can you see me, I play anywhere else, anywhere somebody let us come play right now. So we're pretty much booked up through the rest of the year, but we're all the outskirts of Houston, inside of Houston, and surrounding areas, and all that stuff's on our social media and stuff on our calendar. So, and our events. But yeah, and if you come to a show, and please say hello. I like to meet everyone.
Definitely. So, fans, you have heard it from Mr. Daniel Andrews. All his social media platforms. Make sure you get his music as well, and then you can also book him for an upcoming event that's coming up this season. So thank you so much, Daniel, for being on the show. And thank you guys for tuning in to the 101 in 10, where you get to see your favorite indie artists from around the world 101 in 10 minutes. We have all the information for Daniel's website on below of this video. So make sure you click on it after we end the show. So guys, continue to be positive, continue to stay blessed, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Bye.
Peace.